Greetings and salutations, everybody. Rad Dreams here with Rad Dreams Review, and happy holidays, first and foremost. I hope everybody who is celebrating the holidays this season has a most wonderful, wonderful celebration and spends that quality time with their friends, family, and loved ones. And if this is my last video before the new year, hopefully it won't be, but if it is, I hope everybody has a awesome new year. Let's make 2022 a banger of a year, all right? And speaking of bangers, let's talk for a little bit at least about Netflix's animated series Arcane, based off of the very popular video game League of Legends, developed by Riot Games. And, this came out this year, so it's very new. The first season's out on Netflix. If you want to check it out, just hop on to their streaming platform and give it a watch for yourself. But today we are giving, the channel's thoughts, Rad Dreams Review on the series of Arcane itself, what we thought, what rating we give it, whether or not we want to recommend it to you guys watching it. So with that preamble out of the way, let's kind of dive right into the review, okay? So this was created by Christian Links and Alex Yee and produced by Riot Games and Fortiche Production. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, please let me know in the comments below. Directed by Pascal Arnaud Delord, as well as many others. And it does star some bigger names, especially Haley Steinfeld. She is one of the leading actresses, leading her voice in this animated series. We also have Mia Sinclair, Janice. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I do apologize if I'm butchering these voice actors and actresses' names. We have Jason Spisak, Katie Leong, Ella Purnell, Kevin Alejandro, as well as many, many others. And as all of you watching this probably know for yourselves, it cannot be stated enough that the relationship between studios and video game adaptations meant for, our viewing pleasure has been, albeit a tumultuous affair. Let's be honest here. And this is especially true regarding both live action and animated adaptations of video games. And when, I personally think of adaptations, it elicits thoughts of like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Fatal Fury, Super Mario Brothers. Let's not forget about that one. Sonic the Hedgehog, and of course, Pokemon, right? So the track history with these adaptations themselves has been less than stellar. Overall. That's not to say there haven't been a few outliers, though. In recent memory, Netflix has been making great strides in successfully adapting video games to television, and one can even argue that the mantle of best animated video game adaptation was held by Castlevania. I don't know if you guys watched Castlevania on Netflix, but I highly recommend checking it out. Very, very well done. It follows the source material fairly close, which is really nice. And they do the show like the utmost justice, and they really did show great care in delivering this show. However, with most mantles and with most titles, they are meant to be taken. And this time around, the coveted title of Best Animated Video Game Adaptation has been snatched by the likes of League of Legends Arcane on Netflix. And it can even be argued, in my personal opinion, that is the best video game adaptation when you consider both animated and live action works. I know that's a bold statement, but hear me out. As I said earlier, this was developed by Riot and Fortiche, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, production. This new animated series has exploded onto the scene in a very grand fashion. And I personally have been a League of Legends player, so I wasn't really sure what to make of this TV show. I've been almost 1 year sober from the game. I know a lot of folks have a kind of sour taste in the mouth regarding the video game of League of Legends. So, yeah, my expectations were very low, if I'm going to be very frank. But I did finish Arcane not that long ago, and I walked away feeling immensely satisfied and impressed by the spectacle that was on display. The first thing I will say before I dive into the proverbial meat and potatoes is that you actually don't need to know jack shit about League of Legends, the video game, before watching this TV show, which makes the barrier to entry relatively low. And it's so amazing that this ultimately, to use a funny word and an interesting word, it ultimately buttresses the overall quality of enjoyment in which we all derive from the show itself, as the audience. And some people may have not watched the show in its entirety, so I will attempt to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible. So there will be some omissions, okay? And there are a couple things that I personally look towards when gauging a piece of media's success in the entertainment realm. It's writing, story, characterization, cinematography, sound design, acting, and the final thing is if it's an animated piece of media, which this is, I do look towards the animation itself. And when we speak on the first bit of Arcane, which is the writing that is pertinent throughout, it's really woven in a fine tapestry. It really is. And every single piece of dialogue is really intentional and has purpose. There's no wasted effort. There's no wasted line. Each piece feels believable. It's not campy in the least, which is great. And why it's so great is because this is tacked on to the characterization of each individual character. I know I say that multiple times, but it cannot be stressed enough. This is very, very important because everyone feels unique. There is an air of realism with these animated personas. They sound and feel like breathing humans, which should come to no surprise because the voice actors breathe life into these beings and set the bar as high as they possibly could when delivering their lines. Each character is given agency, and not one of these characters is given more attention than the other, at least to me. Nobody felt like a throwaway. Everyone had a purpose, right? And throughout your viewing experience, you do become attached to each and every one of them. And they do fit within the framework of Arcane very well when you look at the story of it, which offers a unique take on a plethora of themes. And when we speak on the themes of Arcane itself, there are themes of classism, there's struggle, there's drama, violence, there's romance, responsibility, accountability, and the willingness to do things at any cost. You have themes of family, loyalty, and the list goes on. And when you have a multitude of these themes on display, you best be sure that you utilize the cinematography to its fullest extent. Because you want to convey this to the audience, right? Arcane does this in spades. It really does. The show combines a unique and clever combination of techniques as well as masterful animation that coalesce in a cavalcade of harmony that resounds in a perfect crescendo for a finale that will have you guys on the edge of your seats. And it'll leave you wanting more. Luckily, we have a season 2. It was confirmed by Netflix, so I am very much looking forward to that. But the sound design combined with the previously stated elements is an absolute pleasure for the ears to behold. It's been a very long time since a OST has resonated with me on a personal level so effectively. And there was one scene, I know no spoilers, but for those who have watched the show, if you know, you know. There was one scene with Powder, aka Jinx. I know that's like kind of a spoiler-ish, so I do apologize for that. That scene with her had me feeling goosebumps. I legitimately almost cried. When you had the soundtrack in conjunction with what was going on, it just was the perfect scene. And overall, I would be extremely hard-pressed to find anything wrong with Arcane itself. Like, it's really a masterclass in how to handle a video game adaptation for television. It was truly a marvel to behold, especially when you look at the animation itself. It combined CG in a beautiful way. I am a strong advocate for trying new things as well as kind of breaking boundaries and barriers. And Arcane did this with their animation. Their team pulled no punches. There were scenes that were just straight flexing their animation muscles. They were just showcasing their skills. And it was awe-inspiring. It really was. I wish I could show you some of the animation scenes in this video, but I'm really afraid of getting a copyright strike. So I do want to avoid that. But please hear me when I say the animation is beautiful. It is very well done. It definitely takes elements from anime in terms of like Sakuga, and action. It's just, man, just like remembering it and talking about it with you guys just has me feeling very giddy inside. And I really don't think it's that big of a stretch for me to say that this is the best animated video game adaptation of all time. Or in general. Again, when you consider both live action and animation itself. I really would consider Arcane essential viewing for anybody. I really would. And I would highly, highly recommend watching. In terms of a rating for the show itself, I have to give it a perfect 10 out of 10. So that will kind of do it for today's video and review. I know this is a little bit different from my usual stuff. I do love movies, television, and video games, and I do like to kind of give my thoughts on them. So if you want more in-depth talks about like video games, anime, movies, or TV, feel free to check me out on my podcast on Spotify. It's called the Uninformed Gamers Podcast. Feel free to give us a listen and check us out. We love talking about this stuff. So with that out of the way, I do hope that everybody stays very safe out there. Have a very wonderful holiday season. And above all else, I do hope that you stay rad. Take care.